ones. Welcome back to the Wild Rose podcast. I'm Whitney Rose.
And I'm Connie Daniels. Today, we have a very, very special guest for all of you. I know you've all been dying to know who our mutual friend and boat partner is.
Yeah, so on the podcast, a couple of you have pointed out in DMs and texts, whatever, they're like, who is this mutual friend that you always talk about? Who is the third boat partner?
Yes, so today is the big reveal. Diana Willardson. She is Whitney and my other best friend. Yeah. So we're so excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, so Di is actually the person that connected Connie and I. I met Di, oh my God. Like
how long ago?
Like 13, 14 years ago. I just had
From
Bobby.
Patty.
Yeah, we met through Patty.
Who's Patty?
Patty is my ex-sister-in-law, but I still call her my sister-in-law. She'll forever be that. So
For sure.
She is my ex-husband's sister.
Yeah, and so I was set up with Patty on a blind friend date through a mutual friend.
Yeah.
And hit it off with Patty. We met at a public pool in Orem.
Yes, that's where I met you.
Yes, and Di was
pool?
there. I met...
No, you already knew Patty, and you guys had been going to the pool, and then she brought me one day.
Okay.
And you had Bobby. Bobby was a baby.
Yeah, so Bobby was a baby, met Di, and then I think the moment of truth was the day that we went skiing. Like me, you, and Patty. We had a girls' day, went skiing.
Yeah, we drank
so
beers.
Yes.
And then we had like these like bowling ball sparkly helmets.
Yes.
Remember?
Cute.
Yeah, like...
They were like wild helmets.
So this is like 12 years ago.
Yeah.
No, like 13. Like Bobby was
Like just
barely
born?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, she was like
13
in
years.
infancy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys go way back.
But the best part is I was there. It's debatable if she had her first beer with me or not.
Oh, right.
I think you had your first beer with me,
Or was
but
it with
you
Jared?
think that you had one before.
Yeah. The like Bud Light Lime, I think was like my first beer.
Yeah, because you
With Jared, with
definitely
Patty's
had a
husband.
Hefeweizen with me.
Yeah, I don't think it was my first beer. Well, I probably told you that, but no, it wasn't.
All right. Well, I'm still going to hold on to the fact that you had your first beer with me. So that night that was like our first time hanging out, became instant friends. You went with me to get a tattoo.
I know. Like
Wait, that same day?
Yeah.
Yeah, same day.
Like we went from the ski hill to the tattoo shop.
Wow. And that's how best friends are made, you guys.
It is, exactly.
And then our friendship like grew. I moved away to California, whatever, but she always talked about Connie. You have to meet Ben and Connie. You love Ben and Connie.
Well, we were like we knew each other and we were friends, but we weren't really friends until I'm sitting in the airport to pick up my two daughters who had been in Arizona, and I was at the gate because you know how they let you walk to the gate if like your child is flying alone, right? Mm-hmm. Like you can go to the gate and
Yeah, you get like a parent pass.
So I'm sitting there like with my ex-husband. We're waiting for our kids, and like this plane is unloading, this other plane. And I'm like watching people just sitting there bored, and out walks this girl with a buzzed head, and she's pushing a stroller, and she's just like got this swagger. And I was like, she's pretty hot. And then I realized it's Whitney. I'm like, Whitney! And I hadn't seen you. And then you're like, oh my gosh, like we hadn't really kept in touch.
No. Because
And
I had tried to
This is
book
also
appointments to
before
your
like
salon.
social media was a
Right.
big thing. So I wasn't like seeing you on Instagram, you know? Like I didn't know what you were really doing. I knew you had moved, but anyway.
I had only seen you on TV on The Bachelor. Like after I left
That
Utah.
was after? Wait.
Okay, wait, we
Yes.
gotta back up.
Oh
Yeah.
my.
Let's talk about The Bachelor. How did that come about?
Thank you for skipping over the buzzed head because that was a really weird time of my life.
A Britney
loved
Spears
it.
moment?
Yeah, I loved it. I loved the buzz
Actually,
head.
let's talk about the buzz
But
head.
had I not buzzed my head, would we have reconnected?
I don't know because I seriously, it was like a vibe. It was like your buzzed head and you were like walking with your stroller, and I think you were in heels.
For
you
sure
were.
was.
You were in heels.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, this bitch with a buzzed head and heels, pushing a stroller, and I was like watching you, and then as you got closer, I realized it was you, and so I got all excited, and I was like, damn, like, what's with the buzzed head? And you're like, we gotta catch up. I'll find you on, because we didn't have each other's numbers. So you were like, I'll find you on Facebook and I'll message you. And then that was that.
Boom.
We went to like dive bars and became best friends.
Yeah, like overnight.
Yeah. And our significant others were not even friends for a while because it was just like us.
Uh-huh.
Like we would have our thing.
They actually didn't meet until we went on vacation years
That's
later.
true. Yep. Okay.
And then I
But
think we met. I think I met you right after your vacation to Cabo
Yes,
because
'cause I kept
you
talking
came
about
back.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you came back and you kept talking about Whitney and Justin. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna love them. Then you're like, but wait, I don't want you to love them more than us.
That's
And
what
that
she said
happened.
to me all
And
the
then
time.
shut up. We all loved each other equally. It was perfect. And then we bought a boat together.
I know.
Yeah.
Do we need to talk about how we met?
you and I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, that's too. Yeah,
I
of
actually
course.
don't know the story.
Or did people
don't?
not care?
No,
people
I
care.
actually don't know the story. So
Oh.
tell me.
Oh, well, I mean, just because Connie started working at my salon.
Yeah.
But how did that come about,
This is
though?
how it came about. So your older sister Tammy lives near my mom's house, and so
Yes.
she's in the same ward as her. So when I was younger, she was actually the young women's or one of the leaders in the young women's at church.
Yeah.
And so I don't think she was my teacher, but I think she was my younger sister's. So we knew Tammy, and then my mom, when I finished hair school, she knew about your salon from your sister. And she's like, Connie, you should go down to this salon. It's really cute down the street. And Tammy's sister, Di, owns this salon.
Yeah.
And so I got my license. And then the first salon I went,
And I
actually, I think I
hired
went
you.
to, yeah.
How did I hire you? I didn't hire anyone. It was like the luck of the draw. Whoever walked in at the right moment, the right time. And it was just meant to be.
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think I only went to one other salon. And I was like, I don't know. Like, it was mostly like a boutique.
Yeah.
And then I walked into yours and I was like, oh, this is a salon. This is cute.
And
And
it
I
was
liked
small.
you.
It was so small.
It was small then.
But it was so like
Shag one.
It was like shabby chic. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was Shag one.
But I walked in and talked to you and we just clicked. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I know your sister. And you're like, oh my gosh. And then I just told you I was looking for a job and just got my license. And you're like, actually, I think I might need an assistant.
You were my assistant?
For 3 months.
Di doesn't even remember.
Girl.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
You don't remember that Connie was
No,
your
remember,
assistant?
Like my little bitch?
Remember,
No.
I was your bitch for 3 months.
Oh my
You
gosh.
shouldn't
that
have
is my
reminded her because
favorite.
now she's gonna
Oh.
rub that in.
Yeah.
Like,
I
But
love
remember when you were my little bitch, Connie?
Remember when you were beneath me?
It will humble me. It's fine.
she's
I need
gonna
that
start
sometimes.
bossing you
I
around
know.
now. Just watch.
Were you a good one? I don't know if you were a good assistant or not.
I was the best assistant because the assistant after me, well, okay, this is why I was the best assistant because before I did hair, I was a dental assistant. So
Oh,
you would
hand
I would
me
hand
those
you your tools like you
and
were a
she'd
dentist.
slap them in my hand like so hard, like the metal, like here's your here's your
bead
extension
clamper.
tool. And she'd slap it in my hand and I'd be like, that was a good like handoff. Like
Yeah.
good job.
I really made
She's
an
like,
impression.
yeah, because I was a dental assistant and I was like, gosh, that really paid off. It like worked for me.
Yeah.
So
And then I think I was the first assistant that only worked as an assistant for like 3 months. And then I went out on my own on booth rent. And then you were like, wait a minute, that was too fast.
Yeah.
So any
like, I
assistant
can't
after
do
that,
that.
you're like, you
Had
have
to
to
be
be at least like,
commission.
yeah, you have to be commissioned and be my assistant for at least 6 months or a year
It
before
was,
you can go
it
out
was
on.
probably 6 months at that time.
Yeah.
Now it's 2 years. Or sorry, no, now it's a year.
Yeah,
You have to
I
be
would have never made it as your
You have
bitch
to
for
be
a
an
year.
assistant for a year, and then you're on commission. You're on the floor for commission for 2 years, and then you can go booth rent. So now you can't go booth rent in my salon for 3.
Wow.
You got lucky, dude.
I'd
You
say.
got lucky.
I wouldn't have
Because she
lasted.
handled those tools. So
Yeah, I was
I-
like, dang, you're
You're like,
gonna
you know
miss
what?
it.
Go off on your own little
gonna
bird.
make it.
You can fly.
Do you feel like all of your closest friends in your life, it just like happens in a weird way. Like you'd never expect it.
Yeah,
Like
totally.
you saw me walking off an airplane. She was hired as your assistant, which
Yeah.
you don't even remember.
Right. I mean, seriously,
So
how
there's
did
our
I not
story.
even remember that?
Yeah.
That I should have held on to that forever.
You should have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
we're going to take a quick break really fast. And when we come back, I want to hear about the Bachelor story.
Okay. Let's get into it.
Welcome back, everybody. Okay, Di, let's talk about The Bachelor. Let's get into it. How did this all come about? And wait, how many years ago was this? What episode of The Bachelor?
Yeah,
Season?
start
I don't
from,
even
start
know
from
what
the beginning
season.
because like
You d-
you're married with 2 kids. How did you end up married in the Mormon Temple?
Okay,
to
so
the Bachelor?
yeah, at 21, I got married in the LDS temple, and I was married for 9 years, and had 2 kids in the 9 years.
9 years.
Yeah.
That blows my mind
Why?
because I've known you longer than that. Like I can't believe you were married for 9 years.
I know. I was.
It just shows that we were babies when we got married the first
Oh my gosh,
time.
I know. I was married
Sorry,
for
keep
9
going, but
years.
that just blew
I
my
know.
mind.
So married for 9 years. It was like it was a couple months short of 9 years, but we'll give it 9. And yeah, I like from the moment I got married, I knew I was getting married too quick, too fast, too young.
You did.
Yeah.
You knew like
But
the
you still
day
went
of
through
your
it?
wedding, right?
Oh, the day of my wedding.
Like in the temple?
In the temple, we're in the elevator, and I was thinking, like, how do I run? How do I escape from this situation right now? Like, and the guy that was marrying us, his name was Ned Winder, and he was the
He
best.
married me and Ben.
No.
Yes, he did.
Really?
Yeah.
He
like
was
Winder
the
Dairy
best.
guy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ned Winder.
He was
funny.
so sweet. And
He was so sweet and
Yeah.
so funny.
Wait, is he just like a guy in the temple that marries people?
He
Yes.
was,
Or-
yeah.
Only
So they
certain
had
people
certain
can,
people
right?
who would marry.
I'm so surprised you
They had to
remembered
be-
his name.
I can't. That just popped out of my mouth like nothing.
Yeah.
How did I remember his name?
You
But he
don't
was
even
special.
remember that she was your assistant.
I know, and I
you
remembered
remember his
the
name?
guy that married me.
Yeah.
So I knew in the elevator that he turned the lights out and said, "Okay, you two kiss. Hurry and get your last single kiss in before you get married." And he was so cheeky. It was like the cutest old cheeky man Mormon guy.
He was cute.
And I was just like, I didn't even want to kiss Jeff. And,
Really?
You know, and I was like, oh, like, and never before was I like feeling, and first of all, I never was grossed out by kissing my ex-husband. Like that wasn't the issue. I wasn't like grossed out or like turned off. I just like it just didn't feel right. I felt like I was getting married too young, too early, too soon. And
Reality set in.
yeah, and I think that that's just not my thing. I think that marriage is just not my thing. I don't know. I think that I felt trapped and tied down immediately, and I immediately freaked out. And I thought that'd go away. And I remember I brought it up to my mom. One day we were grocery shopping my first year of marriage, and I said to her, "Hey, like, I finally got the courage to say, I'm not happy and I just like don't love being married. Like I'm really struggling here." And she was just like, she just was like, "Sorry, but you got married in the temple. Like you'll be fine. Just get through it. The first year is hard, but like basically don't ever bring this up again."
Wow.
Yeah. And I love my mom.
Well, and-
God rest her soul.
But that's all. That was
was
the
just-
answer that she was
Yeah,
told
yeah.
over and over.
Like,
That's
just
all
to,
she
like-
knew.
So she didn't have any other answer for
that
it.
was the
No.
best option she could give you.
She couldn't get into it, and it scared her, and so she basically shut me down. And I remember I was like, okay, so I have to just suffer in silence for years and years. And I had kids, and again, I didn't hate him. Like we were actually like best friends, and he had a ton of hobbies. And I remember as I was having kids, my friends were like, I can't believe you let Jeff like ski and bike. Like he would road bike and mountain bike and ski and like do triathlons. Yeah. He did triathlons. And oh yeah, he was so into that. And
actually, I used to see him at the gym all the time.
Yeah, he was very outdoorsy and like and golfed and skied and whatever, snowboarded. And I was just
actually
raising
like
kids.
attractive in a person.
It was attractive.
You want to
to
see
me.
someone that has ambition like that.
Yeah, and
personally.
he was ambitious with like owning his own business, and he's the one that pushed me to open up my own salon. I didn't even want to do it. And he's the one that pushed me to, because I'd never thought about being a boss. I'm just not. I mean, I know I boss some people around, but I'm not very good at micromanaging people. So anyway,
so you're bossy.
I'm bossy. I'm just not a good boss.
No. That's a great boss.
That's what your salon manager is for.
You're a fucking good boss because you're bossy. You just don't want to manage people.
Yeah. And let's be honest. Nobody wants to be micromanaged anyway.
No, I am not. That's the difference. Is I'm not a micromanager.
But you're a boss.
Yeah.
You're a boss.
Turns
You've
out-
owned multiple businesses.
Turns out you're a boss.
You're bossy as fuck. I'm taking this opportunity to tell you on air so that you can't get mad at me. But you're really bossy, but you're a boss. Like, you own multiple businesses. I think what you're saying, because we've talked about this, like, managing people is hard.
No, it's hard. I am not a manager.
This is the one time I can take
I have a manager, and she's fantastic. She kind of she actually, like, deals with some of the hard stuff, and then she tells me what I need to deal with, and then she lays it on thick and makes sure, and she just, like,
but
keeps me in line.
Yeah, you receive it.
Yeah. Oh, I need it. I absolutely need it. So, anyhow, Jeff, he was great. He was a great guy. He was good to me. And
just so you know, Jeff listens to our podcast.
Yeah,
so he's gonna love this.
Yeah, he's for sure.
And Jeff has has turned out to be a really good friend of mine.
Yeah, we were in Cabo, and he came in, and he told Connie and I how much he loves our podcast.
And he gave us feedback. He gave us feedback.
No,
I was like, Jeff, you listen.
Feedback.
Hi, Jeff.
Topic ideas, all of it.
Yeah. No. So Jeff, he's like, Connie, your voice comes in a little hot. Like, you're a little loud. You need to turn your mic down. I was like, oh.
He did say
all right,
that.
thanks, Jeff.
Wait, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm dying. I thought you were like fully fucking around with me.
No,
that is hilarious.
But he's gonna love this because he's kind of the star of this podcast right now.
Well, and he's heard all of this. He's the one that
filmed it.
He filmed my Bachelor interview video.
He did?
So let's get to that. So you had two beautiful girls.
Yes, I had two girls.
They're teenagers now.
Yep. They're 17 and 15, and they are bitches, man. They are total bitches, but I love them. So anyway.
We're being real here.
Yeah.
Every mom wants to say it about their teenager. Let's be honest.
Heard. They know. Yeah. They know that I would say that.
Yeah.
I don't say that to their face, but they know I would say that.
Yeah. So they know you mean it lovingly.
Absolutely. Absolutely love them. But he pushed me to open the salon, and he was great, but I just did not feel a connection with him. I felt like I needed to have a stronger sexual connection. I felt like I needed
hell yeah.
Yeah. And again, he's attractive. We were great friends, but it doesn't matter.
I know.
It's not about the size, people.
No. So anyway, we made it almost 9 years, and then we got divorced, and it was very cordial, and we worked together very well with like our kids 50-50. So okay, flash forward. I'm in my salon doing hair. My friend Camera, who works at my salon, she introduced me to Jeff Holm. And she said, Di, I was like, newly divorced. And she's like, Di, I had been divorced for almost a year. She's like, I want to set you up with my friend, Jeff. And she showed me a picture, and I was like, no, he's not that cute. No. He had like long hair. And I just
Of course you look at the hair. You're like,
I just wasn't like into his vibe,
Right.
And so I said no, and Cam was like, well, Di, he's so fun. Like, you'll love him. He's
Had he been on Bachelor yet?
No. He was going. she's like, so he's going on the Bachelorette in 2 weeks, but he wants to go out with you. And I was like, ugh, okay, fine. So we went on like a triple date. It was Cam and her now husband, Shane, and then Mindy and it was Mindy and tattoo guy. What's his face? Cody.
Cody?
Oh.
Yes, Mindy and Cody and me and Jeff.
We all
Mindy
have
and Cody went on a date?
Yes.
No, I could not see that
When
at
Cody
all.
was Mormon. Cody was Mormon though.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got hooked up with
So
Jeff Holm. What season was he on Bachelorette?
He was.
Do you
I
remember?
don't know. I don't know.
Do you
He
remember
was-
the girl? She
Emily.
was blonde. Emily.
Yeah, her name was Emily, and they were the season before me, because
Okay.
Sean, who was my bachelor, was on there with Jeff. He was
Okay.
like
So this
final.
is like what, 2012 or 2011, 2012, like in that area.
Yeah, I don't even know what year is that.
Yeah.
So
No, because
I think that's when
I
it was.
watching it in California.
So does that make sense?
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Jeff, Cam says to me, "Okay, I'm setting you up with Jeff, but like just don't have sex with him." And I was like,
Wait, what?
I'm like, yeah. And she's like, "Don't have sex with him."
But why?
He
Did she
gets
say?
every girl to have sex with him, and he sleeps with everyone. So just
It's like, don't be a hoe. Don't be one
sleep
of his
with him.
hoes.
And I mean, I was like newly
You're a
single,
DTF.
this newly single,
Yeah.
released from the wild Mormon. And I wasn't active anymore.
Well, and when you're newly released from that, you're like,
You're like on the
fuck
prowl.
everything.
Like I was a virgin bride. I'd never drank alcohol, never done anything. So I was like, I was just like, brrr, like just ready to pounce, you know? And I was a total slut for a year. And I'm not even sad about it at all.
I remember that year.
Yeah.
Just no shame. Just fully in it.
You knew me during
Loved
that time.
it.
And
I
it
was
was
in
fun.
California birthing babies, but
Yeah.
you were having the time of
I
your
was
life.
having fun. So I went out with Jeff and we fucked that night. So Cam was right.
Welcome back from the break. So when we went to break, we were trying to decide if Jeff Holm from the Bachelorette Emily season, he mentioned that Emily was concerned that she has kids and she wanted to make sure that she was dating someone who was okay with children. And Jeff mentioned that he had dated someone with children. So Di, is that you?
I mean, I don't
Do
know.
we know?
Jeff the F. Jeff the F. No, Jeff with one F.
Jeff with one F.
Jeff, that's important to know because he really did brand himself.
Jeff the F is Jeff the F.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh,
he really
that was a
did.
total Freudian slip.
Yeah,
Jeff
but he did.
The F-er.
Yeah, and he did brand himself Jeff with one F, so
Yeah,
that's
that's
accurate.
true.
Yeah. Okay.
God, so many memories coming back.
Oh my gosh, so funny.
No.
So Jeff with one F. I don't know. He was kind of a player, so I would not be surprised if he had been dating someone else with kids at the time. Again, we were not dating though. We had just met 2 weeks before he
But
went
don't
on.
you feel like he just pulled the card of,
Oh,
I
first,
had just met
100%.
Di and she has
Yes,
kids. Like,
yes.
I feel like
He
he,
would have
pulled
done that.
the card
Yes.
of, oh yeah, I've dated women with kids.
but wait.
2 weeks, and he was not like being a dad.
Yeah.
But wait, in Utah, there's a lot of divorced people here with kids. So if he's dating in Utah, chances are, sorry, Di, I don't want to burst your
He's
bubble,
dating-
but he's
yeah.
probably dated a few people with kids.
Yeah,
Yes.
but I feel like he pulled
Right?
the die card as like,
But it was probably
clutch,
Di.
like,
Oh, he wanted.
It was probably his
He wanted
references.
to
Yeah.
Okay.
mention that to her for sure because he was playing the game. He knows how to play the game.
well, the
with women.
reason that I say that is because the next season with Chris,
With Sean.
the next season, Chris is the host.
Yes.
The next season with Sean, you get on The Bachelor. So I feel like there had to have been
Which, by
some
the
sort
way,
of connection,
Chris
right?
Harrison has like slept over at my house. He's like, I bought him pizza one night.
Is he still hosting the
He
show to
didn't
this
pay
day?
me for the pizza.
Chris is no longer the host of The Bachelorette or Bachelor, but
we loved him.
yeah.
So-
But
But he owes
fast forward.
Di
How
20
did you
bucks.
how did Bachelor come over besides sleeping at your house and eating pizza? Because that, I mean, Di, I thought, I don't know. I didn't realize that's how you got on.
You didn't know that. Okay. Well, no, he was. That sounded bad.
Get on or off?
I was not sleeping with Chris Harrison. My friend was, but
Or your friend unnamed.
Yeah, let's unname her. Let's unname her.
oh, can I not say names?
Well, you can. If you want to call her out.
But your friend might be mad at you for saying that.
So I was also cutting Jeff's hair. I cut his hair once before he.
Jeff with one F, not your ex-husband.
Jeff with one F. I cut his hair like the night before he went to go be on The Bachelorette. And he was at my house till like 3 or 4 a.m. And he was like, I gotta go home. And then he went on the show, and I thought he won't last even like 3 episodes. Well, he won the whole thing, and he was at the end with Emily.
So that's my point. It's like a win. It's
Oh,
not
it's a
a fall
win.
in love. It's
No.
a game.
Some
It's
people-
like who's gonna win this?
Okay, 100% it is a game, but it just so happened this season I was on, they are still madly in love with like 4 children or 5, who knows.
Well, of
But
course.
So it does
and it
happen.
worked my season. Yeah, he knew
Yeah.
he
But
knew what
Jeff
he needed.
with one F season, he won. It was a game show. He won.
He won.
But then your season.
Yeah.
So get to your season
okay,
with
so
Sean.
So Jeff calls me one day, or he's back from the show, and he's, his season is airing, and I'm cutting his hair, and he's like, you need to send in a videotape, like an audition tape, because the producers want to see you. I told them about you, and I was like, no,
So you were the girl from the episode.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Who knows, But so he said, you send in a video so that they can see you. They just need to see how you are on camera. And I just said, no thanks, because I own a hair salon and I have 2 kids. Like, no one before me had ever had more than 1 kid. And I just was like, this guy doesn't want 2 kids, so that's not going to work for me.
I remember that.
So my ex-husband shows up one day, and I said, it's funny. Jeff with one F thinks I should send in. He thinks I should send in an audition tape, and I just said, wait, I said that.
So I'm gonna translate for Di. She tells her.
Edible
She
just kicked in.
We have these new edibles. They're called Kush Cubes. They're really
And
good.
I don't know what I'm talking
And
about.
Di's getting a little confused, but I think I can interpret for her. So she tells her ex-husband, Jeff, who's the fan of our podcast, that Jeff with one F
fan.
thinks that she should send in an audition tape for The
Yes.
Bachelor.
Yep. So my husband, Jeff, comes over and films it. And I talked about my divorce and why I wanted a divorse. My whole point
He's filming
was
you
that
listening
he's
to
already heard me say all this, so it won't matter if he listens to this podcast.
No, I'm laughing at the fact that he's filming
Yeah.
you of why you wanted a divorce. And he's like, yeah, Di, we're going to get you on the show.
He did. And he edited it for me and then sent it back so that I could send it in.
God, I love that guy.
So Jeff, he was even
We
like,
got to get Jeff on the
he was
podcast.
even like,
You're next, Jeff.
no, he was even like, had me sitting on the countertop of the island of the house I was in. And then we moved spots to my bed. And I sat on my bed and cross-legged and like talked about more stuff and more reasons why I wanted to divorce him.
And then you got on The Bachelor.
Yeah.
And it
Totally.
worked.
And it was the stupidest audition tape. I planned nothing. I wung it. It was like spur of the moment. They just, I mean, that's not what got me in.
You
Jeff
wung
got
it?
me in. I wung it. Is that
Wung.
the right word?
Yeah, wung it.
Wung it.
Like if you
I
wing
wung
it, you wung it because it was in the past.
Okay, I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna look at my little dictionary. Hold on.
Anyways,
Okay, but I want to. Okay, so you obviously, clearly, Di gets on The Bachelor with Sean.
Like at like the last second, like they hired me.
It doesn't
or they
matter
cast me
when
very last.
or how.
No,
or
I'm just
if, yeah.
saying it was very. When I called Jeff to tell him that I finally turned in my audition tape, he was like, "Well, you're not like you're too late because they've already cast everyone." Well, they like called me the next week and said, "We're flying you out. We're going to interview you with everyone in the office." It was like not like a typical casting weekend. It was like they needed a mom and they flew me in. They all put me in front of a camera and I was like, there's all these producers watching me, asking me questions for 2 hours. And I did so fucking good. I nailed it.
Obviously.
I nailed that thing. And so then they gave me a lot of personality tests to take.
Is
and all the things.
is it like a psychological like an emotional test to see if you can handle what's about to happen?
I mean, okay, they already knew they needed a mom that owned a business. That's what they wanted. Someone that was like owned a business and was a single mom. I don't know why they couldn't find one in the nation, but they hadn't yet, and they got me.
Well, they have a list of boxes they have to check
Right.
off, and I think that those personality tests are to see where her triggers are, where her soft
Absolutely.
spots are.
Yeah.
What things
Absolutely.
like what
How can we make her
conversations,
cry? Who can we
Yes.
put her in a room with that will like
what topic
spark-
should be
yeah.
brought
To
up?
produce her.
And there were so many. There were like, it took me an hour and a half to fill out all these personality tests. I felt like I was back in school. It was crazy. And so then I had to meet with a private investigator that had to ask me if there was anything that was going to come out about me if I were to be famous. And
I wish they would have done that for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
oh no, see, they want all that. They want all that stuff to come up in Housewives. And Bachelor at the time, they didn't. They didn't want the scandal. I think now they do. It's probably changed. But okay, so anyhow, where were we?
You got on the show. What things that stand out, because I know you like we could walk through detail and it's all so fascinating and entertaining. What is it like to be at a rose ceremony?
You were at the rose ceremony because you didn't make it there.
No, okay. You guys, actually, my story is
Okay.
wild. It's wild.
Or did you get to go?
Yeah,
I absolutely
she
did.
made it to the rose ceremony.
Yeah. I was thinking at the very end row. Okay, I was only. It's been a while since
Yeah.
I've watched this show. I thought there was only one rose ceremony.
No. There's a rose
every
ceremony
episode.
every episode.
Shit. Okay.
Cons. That's how they end
I
every
just was looking
episode.
for
Is
a
will you
burn.
accept
I was
this
just
rose?
She wanted to burn. Well, you can burn me soon.
So I want to
So-
know how long a rose ceremony is, and like how long are you really standing there before you actually like find out if you have a rose or not? And then 2, you've talked to me about the car and the psychologist. I want to know all about
And
that.
how drunk do they want you to get
Oh,
before how long do they drag it
Okay,
out?
so there's alcohol everywhere. They want you to get drunk before like the walk out of the limo. They want people to act like idiots. So they don't feed you all day and then they feed you alcohol. And then so you're just this drunk, crazy asshole. And Emily, who had won the season before, had talked to me and said, just don't get drunk the first night. Just whatever you do. Like you're going to be nervous. You're not going to want to eat. Just don't get drunk. So I just was like held it together and I didn't. But I saw everyone else get drunk and it's real fun. But anyway, so the rose ceremonies are very long. They're like at 5 a.m., 4 a.m.
Seriously.
Like, it goes
So you guys
all
are
night.
delirious.
So you're delirious. Your makeup is smudged off. Like,
So when people look like they're falling asleep, they really are.
oh, it is ridiculous. Like, it's literally until
And some people are just crying because they're tired.
they're drunk, they're tired, they're triggered.
So when you don't get a rose, it's a bigger deal.
So
at
when
that
you
moment,
see
right?
every girl on their exit cry about not getting a rose, most of the time it's not even about not them getting a rose. It's
like
a
they're tired.
trigger. No, it's the producers triggering you and then you cry and that's what they show is you crying. So that's kind of
It's
how it
good
works
production.
in the Bachelorette world. Back in the day. I don't know what they do
I've
now.
actually worked with producers with Housewives that worked on Bachelor, and they said they would never go back.
It's cutthroat, man.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we make these bitches go wild? And they make you do crazy stuff.
But Kate, so talk to us about your let go and you get into the car.
Well, let me just first tell you, before I tell everyone that I was kicked off the second episode. The first episode, when they give out the first impression rose, Sean had given out 5 first impression roses.
That's too many.
Well, I was one of them.
Okay, that was perfect.
It's a good thing he gave out 5 so you made the cut.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
It's
You got
a
a
good
first.
thing.
Okay, actually, in Bachelor World, that's a big deal.
I
You
got a first impression rose. Even
Yeah.
though I was one of 5 on that season, I got a first impression
Turns
rose.
out after they find out who Di is, they want to just cut her right out.
I mean,
They're like, oh, she's great. No.
The minute he found out I had 2 kids and that I was like owned a business in Utah, he was like, I'm not going to waste your time. Like, you would never move to Texas. You have 2 children and you own a business. And
But
I know that.
if he really knew you, then
I would.
Yeah,
I would.
You would've moved.
You'd be
I would
like,
have.
try me. My business is global. I can go anywhere.
Totally. But I probably would not have, though. So at the time, now I would. Now I want to run away. But at the time, no. I would have stayed. So it wouldn't have worked. And, you know, that was really sweet that he was like, I don't want to waste your time and, like, take you away from your kids. But I was like, no, please, don't send me away. I need a vacation.
Just
I
even
want
if
it to
you
last
even if you
longer.
don't want to date me, just keep me here on the sidelines.
Just let me just have some fun. Let me just like not go back to work
Just let
and
me
children.
be the girl in the background for a little bit.
Totally. Let me be like the asshole that can stay. I was way too following the rules. They were trying to get me to say shitty things about girls and I just wasn't falling for it. So on the producer side, they also didn't care to keep me.
Which
I wasn't
sucks
fun to
because
watch.
you have to go against your character. Because if you would have just started beef with one of the girls, you would have stayed. But that's not who you are. That's not
No.
your character.
It's not who I am, and I just couldn't pull
I
that.
mean, but could you have?
If it felt right, if it was a real encounter, then yeah, hell yeah. But I'm not gonna just start drama with people just for the hell of it. Like that just wasn't. And I was like newly on camera, you know, I was just trying to follow all the rules, like. And
That's the hardest part. It's like they make you feel like if you don't do something, you're done.
right. But I didn't really know that was the game either. I mean, I knew, of course, you know, they keep the crazy ones and the wild ones. But I also was just like, I'm here for the right reasons and I want to find a
Yeah,
husband.
but that girl is gone. I wish you were going now. Because you are crazy.
So tell me this.
And you are
I
wild.
wouldn't tell him that I had kids till he proposed. And then I would say, by the way, I have 2 children. And they're both
2
teenagers.
And 2 dogs now.
Yep.
Okay, so tell me this. Now that you went from newly single onto The Bachelor, had that whole experience, then you had a serious boyfriend. Basically, you were married for, 8-9 years? And
We lived together for it was months away from being 9 years. So it was literally the same as my marriage, like almost
that's crazy.
to the day.
which might have to be a story for another time, because
Yeah,
that's a whole story in and of itself.
Third time a charm.
Yes, but my
actually-
question is, hold on really quick.
Well, we have to get to the car with the psychologist.
Oh, okay.
But ask
before
your
we go.
question.
But I'm just going to ask, would
Well,
you
then we're
go
gonna
back
be going
on
back.
this?
Oh wait, hold
At
on.
this point in time, after you've been, like, you were newly single, excited, like, to go on that show, but now that you've been through a lot more in another decade, would you
Would
go
I
on
do it again?
Yeah, would you go on it now?
Oh yeah. If
You
they
go on
were
it.
casting middle-aged women,
I was
yes.
gonna say if it was for the middle-aged, you would
Middle-aged,
own that
yes,
shit.
I would. I totally would, because I'm way more comfortable in my skin now. I was then, and I had so much fun.
Yeah.
But I just, like, you kind of, when you marinate a little more, you're just
Maybe
better.
that needs to be another show.
Actually, it would be way more entertaining because these are women who are in their like middle-aged, know what they want, know what they're about, have life experience under them. Like,
do they have a show like that?
I mean,
like
if
Married
they
to-
don't, then let's
Why
get
do
funding
they
and produce
not?
it because that
They should
sounds
I was gonna
totally
say Married to a
do it.
Millionaire now. I
It
think
would
that's
be
younger
It
girls.
would be like Housewives. It would be like single girl housewives. Like, you
I
know,
don't
women, older women.
So it's kind of like this season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Okay, psychologist in the car.
We don't have to get to that. I just thought it was always fascinating to me how you're like, you get in the car.
Well, why don't
and everyone's
Why
crying,
don't we
but there's
hurry
a-
and talk
yeah.
about that? So
Just quick.
at my exit, you know, the second rose ceremony, he was like adamant about me cutting his hair, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally cut your hair. So does that mean I'm staying? You know, the whole thing. And then he like gave me 2 hugs and whatever. Then,
2 hugs.
Then, you know, he gave me 2 hugs. It
He
was
just
a big
wanted to fill
deal.
your boobs.
He did. He was
let's be
like, oh,
honest.
she has big boobs. Okay.
Like, come in again.
So anyway, where
Sorry.
were we?
The car.
I was like shocked that I didn't get picked based off of our conversation. So, you know, I don't know what happened, but he was really sweet when I left and told me why. Anyway, I get in the car.
Wait, were you attracted to him? Did you actually want to,
No.
or you just wanted to win?
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't attracted to his personality. I didn't think he was very fun, and I didn't think he was good at like getting girls to talk and be comfortable. He wasn't good at that in the beginning. I think he got better at it, but you know, it's a new experience for everyone. So it's like, I think he felt a little off in the beginning. So, and I'm more for personality than anything. And I just didn't feel like he was helping me feel comfortable, but like he was new at it too.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so I get in the car and there's a woman sitting there, and it's this psychologist that I had met with before I started the show. And she had my file, and she was like debriefing me and making sure. She asked me if there was one thing that I requested not be aired. Like if I said anything or there was a scene that I didn't want to be aired, to let her know. Which was very interesting that they asked me that. And I said, yeah, since I'm being let go, don't air the part where I talked to Sean about my divorce. And so they didn't air very much of me, because otherwise they would have had to show a lot of that, because our conversation was a lot about my divorce. So anyhow, that was that. And I met 2 really good friends from there that I'm still close with. I could fly to her house tomorrow and she'd just open her doors wide open. So yeah, I got
That's
a really good
awesome.
friend out of it.
Yeah, Selma.
Selma.
Aww.
My cute
Wait, was she
little
one of the
Selmsies.
other? Was she one of the
She
other girls
made
on there
it.
then?
Pretty far,
She
didn't
went
she?
far, but he didn't like her after she didn't do the polar bear plunge. She was like, I'm not doing that, and sat out, and every girl did it. And he was like, you're not fun for me. So
Oh.
he let her go, and she didn't care. She was like, good riddance.
She's like enough.
She's doing just fine.
Yeah, she is living life
Yeah.
large. So she
I
did
love
great.
it. I'm glad you met her.
Yeah, she's
Made
the
it worth
best. It
All
totally
right.
made it worth it.
So I feel like we're just going to have to bring you back on to hear about the next chapter of your life, the next 9 years.
The middle-aged chapter.
Yes, because
I
there's
keep
a lot
calling
of good
myself
stuff.
middle-aged.
Yeah,
I know. You're what, barely 40? You're like, I'm middle-aged.
Listen, I just feel like this is the next era, middle-aged era, right?
Well, welcome.
Yeah.
Whitney, you'll join us soon.
So cheers to the middle-aged era.
Cheers.
Cheers. But before we go, I'm going to ask you a really hard question.
Okay.
So, without everyone knowing what the next decade is, the decade that we've talked about, what is your advice to women? Like, it's hard to figure your shit out. It's hard to know, like, if you want to be in this relationship, if you don't, it's hard to be comfortable in your own skin. Like, all of the things that you just described, I listen and I just honor you for being so brutally honest. Like, you are just so real with who you are, where you're at. Wow. You're so real with who you are, where you're at, and what you want in the moment. Like, what is your vice?
Oh yeah, what is your vice?
I think we know what our vices are. That's why we can't
Kush cubes?
No, okay, so you're brutally honest. You're very self-aware. What would your advice to other women be of how to find that courage, or something you practice every day to just be that brutally honest with yourself?
I would say, advice, or how I am that way.
But however you like to interpret it.
I don't know. The advice is just, I don't know. What? It's just be
what would you tell your
honest.
girls? What would you tell your girls?
Yeah, because obviously you're this way. This is just who you are. But how would you teach your girls to be who you are?
I would just try to teach my girls now to be super comfortable in their skin, and to just own to their mistakes. Always own your mistakes. I hate people that won't they're never wrong. Those people, I don't like them around me. And so I would just say my biggest thing is to just own your mistakes and learn from it and grow from it and be humble about it, because that's why we're here, right?
And what's your number one advice to go after what you want? Because fear gets in the way. Self-doubt gets in the way.
Fear and self-doubt totally get in the way. And it's those two things are what's holding me back from where I want to be. But I'm working on that right now. That's all part of this new decade for me.
Your self-discovery. And
My
it's
self-discovery, because I feel like I was pushed to do the salon by my ex-husband, and I didn't think that was ever in the cards for me to be a boss, to own something. And here I am 20 years later, still with a successful salon. And so, I think self-doubt is such a bad thing. We all do it, and I still do it. But then once you get there, you're I actually can do this. It's wild that I still own it, and it's successful thanks to a manager that helps me. But there's a big reason why it's still successful. And, I may not be a great micromanager, but I've somehow pulled it together for this long. So, there's magic, I think, in anything we do if we just try.
Isn't it crazy how we put those limitations on ourselves, but really there is no limit?
No.
We limit ourselves.
It is just totally out of fear. Yeah. And it's how do you break that fear down?
Yeah. It's not easy to do, but once you do it and once you realize there is no limits, only the ones that we put on ourselves. So we take those away, and it's okay, anything is possible. It's hard to
wrap your
so
brain around
if
that.
I'm listening, I'm listening to both of you, and if I could take the one thing, it's to take a step back and honor the wins. So self-doubt, fear, you're always going to feel like you're suffocating in it and it's not happening. But if you actually take a step back and honor the steps that you've taken forward, the wins that you've had,
you're actually
that means
winning.
You're doing it.
Yeah, you're doing it.
So honor the moments that have
that's very
worked.
true, because right now I'm going, well, I wish that I had pushed harder at doing education, or I wish I was here, the extra hair extensions that we did together, why did we let go of it, but then I have to remind myself that I own a very successful salon. And I just forget that, because, it's what's next? I need to get bigger and better. And especially with social media, it's everything's in your face, where everyone's going and growing and what you're not doing. But you have to kind of reality check and just say no, I'm very successful. I'm doing really good. And you
It's
know,
like sometimes we
but
forget that we are
also not
growing.
be scared of pushing yourself.
Yeah. So
'Cause-
honor the wins and successes that you have.
Yeah. And look how far you've come.
And push yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
All
love
right.
that.
Well, excuse me. That is a beautiful way to end. And again, we're gonna have to have Di back on for the next chapter, because the next decade, you think this is crazy? The next decade of her life, like, we're only in her late 20s.
Yeah. Let's get into when
30s.
Whitney and I were really in your life.
Just wait till you hear about her 30s.
Oh my gosh, we didn't even get into that decade.
Wait, there's not enough time. We have to end the podcast now. You're going to come back on. And this is one that could be like true crimes. It could be on Dateline. I mean, it could be.
No, for real.
It could be
That's
for
a
sure.
stretch,
but once we legally can talk about it, we're going to have you back on and hear what the next decade of your life, and then the future, because your future right now is so bright. And so it's amazing. You've been through so much. But thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you for our listeners. We love you. Again, we love hearing from you, your feedback, any questions, topics you want to hear about. Obviously, we are all ears, and we love to hear from you. If you like our podcast, share it with your friends and family, review us, and don't forget,
Be you, stay wild.